Now let's explore another behavior. I'm going to close out of this file, and I want you to open the folder called My Leaves. Double-click to open the My Leaves Complete page, and you may remember that we designed this page in Part 1 using Dreamweaver's AP divs, and that allowed us to use absolute positioning to control where these divs appeared on the page. It also allowed us to create a series of divs, one on top of the other, and to use the visibility options to show and hide them. If I open up the CSS panel, and I'm going to close files now so we have a little more room for both behaviors and CSS, I want you to first notice that I now have a style called Write. I have a Write To and I have a Write 3. Each of those are separate divs. And if I switch to AP Elements, I want you to see Write, Write To, and Write 3 are all divs that I've positioned one on top of the other. So all three of those have the same coordinates. They're left 235, top 100. And I've turned them on and off using the little eye icon. So these two that look a little like they might be winking at you, those are hidden. And if I click again, you'll see they appear. Click again, and you'll see there are actually three images, one on top of the other. I've only set up the first three for this demonstration, but you can go ahead and set up the rest if you want to practice. The trick to setting up this behavior, and now I'm going to be using the Show Hide behavior, is to first set up the page with the element that you want visible displayed. So in this case, I want a layer with an image in it to be displayed when the page first loads, and I want the other layers with the other images to be hidden. So I want my right image to be displayed, and I want Write To be hidden. And I'm clicking twice to cycle through this till those two are hidden. So as the browser loads this page, Write will be visible, Write To will be hidden, and Write 3 will be hidden. Now if I go to Behaviors, you'll see when you choose the Show Hide Elements, you get the option of showing and hiding any of the divs on this page. Because these divs are set up with absolute positioning, I can use the Show Hide Elements behavior to target them. I still need to set up a trigger, meaning one of these images has to represent the event before the action can occur. So if I want to set up this second image here, so that on mouse over or on click, either one of those will work just fine, a layer on this side of the page becomes visible. You want to first select that thumbnail, and then in the Behaviors panel, choose the Show Hide Elements option. Now this is a little different from Swap Image, but think about this. At the moment we have three layers named Write, Write To, and Write 3. And depending on which thumbnail we have selected, we want some of those to show and some of those to hide. So this is the second thumbnail, and it corresponds to the layer I've named Write To. So when this thumbnail serves as the event, I want Write To show. You see the word show appears here. But I want Write 3 to hide, and I want Write to hide. Now let me set that up for this image, which corresponds to the third layer. So again, if I choose Behaviors, Show Hide Elements, I don't have to worry about the other layers on this page, like the one at the top that has the banner. At this point, I'm still just affecting Write, Write To, and Write 3. Now, of course, if I had set up 7 to correspond with all of these thumbnails, then I'd want to use Show Hide on all 7 of those. But for simplicity's sake, right now, I want to affect Write 3. That corresponds to my third thumbnail here on the left. So what I want to set up is that when this thumbnail is the trigger or the event, I want to show the Write 3 div, I want to hide the Write 2 div, and I want to hide the Write div, and click OK. Now, notice this time Dreamweaver's chosen On Before Unload as the event, which I think is kind of a strange option for here. I think it would make more sense to have this be on rollover or on click. So let's go ahead and set this to on click. Let me check number 2 here. Same thing. Let's set this one also to on click. And now I haven't set anything up for the first one because it's going to load as soon as the page appears. But if I want to make sure that when somebody comes back to it and clicks on it, the corresponding image is there, I would want to set up the same behavior on this first one. So let's go ahead and set Show Hide Elements. This is the right div, so I want that one to show, and I want 2 and 3 to hide. I want to set it to on click. And you see I've set up my event, I've set up my action, and I'm ready now to test this in a browser. If you're experimenting with this page in this lesson and you didn't go through the lesson earlier on AP divs, don't be thrown if your page turns white like that. Click back over here and you'll see all that's happening is that you're activating the container div, which is just one big white div that covers everything up when it's selected. So if you click on any of the white space, that's likely to happen to you. But let's just save this page and preview it in a browser. And you can see now when I click on each of these images, the corresponding layer changes, hiding the 2 others and showing the one that I'm activating. For the most part, if all you want to do is to change an image with an effect like this, the swap image behavior is going to be simpler and more effective. But if you actually want to be able to change more than just an image, for example, if I wanted to include a full caption at the bottom of each of these images, I could include all of that information in the same div using absolute positioning, and then I could use a behavior to show and hide each of those divs. And in doing so, I can change more than just images on the page if I use AP divs with the Show Hide Elements option. So let's close out of here, and let's work on one last behavior before we leave this lesson.